Rob, what's he like? He's definitely dead now. Well, trains have such a rich history, entwined with industrial revolution and the making of nations. They've been described as the backbone of many countries, playing a part in commercial haulage, warfare, and helping to make the world just a little smaller. So it's no wonder that locomotion has caught imaginations and inspired the art of people like Jules Verne, Cecil B. DeMille, Danny Boyle, and arguably some of the best game designers, such as Sid Meier's and Chris Sawyer, creators of the Railroads and Transport Tycoon franchises respectively.
Railroads and Transport Tycoon have been a couple of my favourite games for a long time now, with Transport Tycoon getting a second wind in the form of an open source project known as Open Transport Tycoon Deluxe. The games plonk the player into the chair of a megalomaniacal train baron, building railways, choosing what goods to transport, and selecting the best trains to get from A to B. The challenge comes in the form of fierce rivals, attempting to outperform you, occasionally sabotaging you, and ultimately trying to buy you out of business. The similarities between the two games are too numerous not to notice, so I thought I'd break it down and try and discern which is the better of the two. There are even similarities in the minutiae of ordering your trains around. Of course, the interface for Railroads is a little more flashy, being the more modern of the two, released in 2006, but I'll get into that later.
Let's start with those similarities. Both involve trains and the ability to transport 4 different types of cargo. You've got your raw materials, you've got your refined goods, and of course the finished product. Oh, not to mention mail and passenger services. Don't mind if I do. Rob, you're alive! Of course I'm alive. Well, where have you been?
Work. There's the ability to purchase new industries, help small towns become sprawling metropolises, terraforming tools, track layout options. What I'm trying to get at is they both play out in a very similar fashion, but it's the differences that morph these games into unique experiences. So let's plough on with those differences. Planning your rails and watching your humble beginnings become a vast trade network is one of gaming's true cathartic experiences. It's nice to get that catharsis from building something up rather than destroying it, which is the case with most games. Railroads runs on the Civilization 4 engine, so it has very nice visual representations of its tracks, with natural curves adding some challenge to your routing, as you can't have unrealistic sharp bends or go through your competitors' tracks. The train drivers themselves aren't particularly smart though, as you get some terrible routing problems if you try to stick more than one train on the same track. OpenTTD has that same organic growth, but the isometric graphics make placing tracks a much simpler affair, and with a baffling array of signals and traffic lights to choose from, you can ensure your trains don't get lost and stuck, providing you know what the heck you're building. Look at these things. What even is that? This better routing allows for many more trains on your tracks, letting you build a network that's more realistic in its interconnectedness. Although if you do it wrong, OpenTTD has crashes.
Carnage!
The passion for rail history is obvious to anyone who's played Sid Meier's Railroads. It contains examples of real trains for you to build your trade empire with, and you'll be facing off against real train barons from history, bartering over real engineering breakthroughs in scenarios inspired by historical events. Loading screens are plastered with interesting facts and information about your adversaries and the engineering feats you fight over. Unfortunately, due to my modern PC, the game loads so damn fast I don't have a chance to read the info on the loading screen. While I'm on the topic, if you have a PC with more than a single channel RAM, or more than a single core processor, you're probably going to have to do a bit of Google food to get this game to work. This is precisely the reason it was taken off Steam, because with all of the different operating systems, processors and makes of RAM, it's impossible to release a one-size-fits-all patch, and Valve were inundated with complaints of Railroads crashing. It's a little odd, because you can pick up the older iterations of Railroads on Steam and they work just fine. OpenTTD, on the other hand, is an active community project, so it works on most systems, and it even has active multiplayer support. It doesn't seem to share Railroad's knack for history though. While it does have engines based on real-world equivalents with different names, all of the other names in the game are randomly generated, from the place names to the competition.
Another massive difference I haven't mentioned so far are the lorries, planes and boats that are a quintessential part of Transport Tycoon, but absent from railroads.
Another nice feature is the ability to actually interact with the towns, to see their exact population, what they think of you, and fun projects, such as advertising campaigns and solid gold statues of your fine self. If you want some competition to play against, you'll have to download them from the internet, and the open source nature means you have plenty of AI schemes to choose from. But whatever you choose, they won't feel quite as alive as the AI from Railroads, who attempt to buy you out, challenge you on industry auctions with their little moustache-twirling faces. Why do all of the opponents in Railroads look like Looney Tunes villains? Probably because they keep trying to take my coal. Hey Cornelius Vanderbilt, you get ye back here with that coal, you... Come on, that's not cool. Ah, whatever, take that. Yeah, whatever, get dominated, nerd.
If I had to pick a favourite, I think I picked Transport Tycoon. Sure, it's the older game, but it's more in depth with more options, more direct control over your land and tracks. It's got bigger maps and longer lasting campaigns. It's just more comprehensive. Still, these are some of my favourite games of all time and definitely worth a look. And with OpenTTTTTTTTD being free to download, you don't have an excuse. Now I wonder where my life will take me after I retire from the train game.
President of the United States! That's one heck of a career move. Yes sir, Mr. President. Let's get this railroad finished. With natural curves, oh,